Welcome, everybody, once again to another episode of B&B Hockey Talk. I'm Aaron Bloxall with my co-host, Mr. Matt Balzer. And, of course, today's episode is brought to you by our sponsor of the month, ID Seal, for all your ID theft protection, including social media, banking, credit cards, and multiple other things, not just online, but also on the dark internet side of things. They've got you covered. Check out the link in our Facebook page for all the information if you want to learn about it. So, Matt, great weekend of hockey. Lots of stuff wrapping up. Memorial Cup came to an end, and, of course, the World Hockey Championship came to an end. And tonight, we get the start of the Stanley Cup final, finally, after a long break. I'm really looking forward to this game. Boston, St. Louis. This is going to be, I think, a pretty good Stanley Cup final. What are your thoughts?
I know, yeah. I can't wait. Like I saw they had Lil Nas outside the arena jamming to Hometown Road. Man, that song is so catchy. But yeah, I can't wait to see. There's a lot of storylines going into tonight. One that we didn't bring up on our last episode that I forgot. One thing on Jordan Binnington, he actually played in the Bruins AHL team last season in Providence. I think the Blues were going to send him down to the East Coast league, but he didn't want to go there, so they loaned him over to Providence, and he actually played really well. So that's another thing to keep an eye on, because the Bruins might have a bit more of a playbook against him. But yeah, I can't wait. I think the first 10 minutes are going to be like super crazy. Everybody's going to be running over each other.
Yeah,
the crowd's going to be into it, and then after that, everything will settle down, and then I think we're going to get some really good defensive, low-scoring games throughout this series, but it should be really fun hockey to watch.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. It's been a long time coming because they've taken such a big break here in between the series. But you know what? We're going to keep moving on so that we can actually enjoy the start of the game after this episode's over. And, so World Hockey Championships happen. Finland upsets the Russians in the semifinals, winning 1-0. The stacked Russian team yet again disappoints everybody like they always do. Can't find a way to score, can't find a way to play as a team. But, man, that was probably one of the better Russian teams we've seen in a long time. Canada somehow gets through the Swiss in the quarters, and they absolutely destroy the Czechs in the semifinal. And then, of course, Finland pulls off the huge upset again in the finals. We were talking about this before we came on air. Kaapo Kakko, Finland winning the under-18s. They win the World Juniors, which is the under-20s, and they win the World Championships. He's got 3 gold medals this year. Finland is on a tear. But before you talk about Kaapo Kakko, why don't you give us your highlights and your thoughts on the World Hockey Championships?
Yeah. Finland, it's crazy. They had only maybe 1 or 2 guys that had NHL experience, like Jouko Haru on the back end, and then I think he was Umeko or something. I totally mispronounced that name. I know he's with the Florida Panthers, but only 2
Marco
guys.
Antilla, the big 6'8" captain that they have.
Just crazy. No points in the first 7 games, and then he gets the game-tying goal against Sweden in the quarters. And then he gets the game-winning goal against the Russians, and then he scores the tying goal and the game-winning goal against Canada. Just absolutely insane. And then Kevin Lankinen in net, Chicago Blackhawks prospect, amazing in that he had 32 saves for the shutout against the Russians. And then he stopped 43 shots against Canada, including, I believe, 21 in the third period alone, because that was all Canada in the third period. But Finland, man, you got to give them credit. They play some great defensive hockey. They're able to box out, and they don't give you in the middle of the ice. And then if there are any chances, Lankinen was right there to make the save. And talk about Finland and their goaltenders. It's like every year there's another goalie that looks like he's going to be a superstar in the NHL. So, just crazy. And then for Canada, in the quarters, they tie the game against Switzerland with 0.4 seconds left in the third period. And then Mark Stone coming up huge with the overtime winner there. And then against the Czech Republic, I know they beat them pretty good, but Matt Murray had a great game, making 40 saves in that game. And he was even pretty good to start the game against Finland. He stopped that penalty shot right off the bat. But yeah, it's just Canada. They just couldn't solve anybody. And then in the bronze medal game, Andrei Vasilevsky, 48 saves against the Czechs. And then he stopped all 4 shooters in the shootout where Russia won the bronze medal. And Vasilevsky, man, I think that guy made every save look so easy in that shootout. Like that last shot against Hronek, when he stopped up and he just sort of slowly moved across with them, just like he gave him nothing. So so Russia with the bronze, Canada with the silver, Finland with the gold. But yeah, it's just great because I think Finland, there's only like 5.5 million people that live in that country. So it's just huge. And they were partying hard after with some of the videos that I saw. So yeah, it's just great for Finland.
Hey, Teemu Selanne in his home in Anaheim, full hockey gear with his Finland jersey on from the Olympics that was signed by everybody. He was fully dressed, though, on his couch watching the game, skates and all. And then, of course, he was going crazy at the end when they held on to win and then stood for the national anthem. You can't tell me there's a lot of proud Finnish people right now for what they've done in that country over the last 3 months here in hockey.
I know, yeah. It's just insane because it's just I bring up their roster. It's just they had 0 guys that have scored a goal in the NHL on their team. But I think the great thing was that they were able to before the tournament to play a lot of games together and sort of gel. Because like we saw like right off the bat when in that first game in the round robin against Canada where they beat them, they were really good as a team from start to finish. And just one thing I want to add for the All-Star team for the tournament, we had Andrei Vasilevsky in net, Filip Hronek with the Czech Republic, and Mikko Lehtonen as the defenseman from Finland. And then up front, Mark Stone with Canada, William Nylander with Sweden, and Jacob Voracek with the Czech Republic. And Mark Stone was named tournament MVP as well. So just some great hockey played over the past couple of weeks. And then, now that leads us up right to the Stanley Cup final. It's perfect timing there.
Memorial Cup saw a repeat of the QMJHL final. The Huskies with the host Halifax Mooseheads. With the Huskies winning again as they did in their 7-game series against the Mooseheads. Any surprises there that you saw, or was that expected?
I don't think I was as surprised because I think the Huskies came back in the round robin game against Halifax as well. Even in their semifinal game, that was a bit of a crazy game against Guelph as well. Because it was just like one team would score and then a couple minutes later the other team would score and be back and forth sort of thing. But yeah, it was some great hockey. Joel Teasdale was named tournament MVP. That's a Montreal Canadiens prospect. And I think if you're a Montreal Canadiens fan, I think you should be pretty happy with some of the showings. Like Nick Suzuki with Guelph as well had a great tournament. But yeah, I think it was a bit. They were down 2-0 after the first period, and they scored 4 straight goals to win the game. I think Marleau scored a great goal. I think on the 4th goal, a nice spinorama goal right in front of the net. But yeah, it's their first Memorial Cup championship in team history. But yeah, that wraps up the CHL season there.
Yeah, and lots of hockey still coming up as we have the Stanley Cup final moving forward. And, of course, the draft on the 26th of June, so less than a month away, which, by the way, sold out so quickly here in Vancouver. I saw tickets on Craigslist were already going for about $1,200 a seat, which is just absolutely ridiculous. But that's for the first round on the Friday. You might be able to get tickets on the Saturday still for about $200 here in Vancouver, which, again, is ridiculous. But it's not as ridiculous as what courtside at the Toronto Raptors are going for. I saw a ticket for sale yesterday for $112,000, and I was like, holy cow. Somebody's getting paid. Somebody's making some money. Hey, great. I love capitalism. But we also have some news and notes from around the NHL, some signings, and, of course, a new coach in Ottawa. Why don't you catch us up to date with all that stuff?
Yeah, so the Ottawa Senators hired DJ Smith as their new head coach. He'd been the assistant coach with the Toronto Maple Leafs the past 4 seasons. And before that, He was an assistant coach and an associate head coach with the Windsor Spitfire from 2004 to 2012, winning 2 Memorial Cups. And then he was the head coach of the Oshawa Generals from 2012 to 2015, also winning a Memorial Cup in 2015 there. And he was also named coach of the year in the OHL that year as well. He joins a very expansive list now of former assistant coaches with Mike Babcock to become a head coach, as he joins Todd McClellan, Paul McLean, Bill Peters, and Jeff Blashill, all who were assistant coaches with Babcock, who are now head coaches or were head coaches in the NHL. But yeah, a good young head coach. He's only 42. But yeah, I think that sort of fits Ottawa's. At least their money and the term, I think, is only a 3-year deal. So sort of a really good pick there.
All right, and we also have some other signings, of course. Montreal been busy signing a couple, and then the big one for the New York Islanders.
Yeah, so the Islanders gave Brock Nelson a huge 6-year, $36 million deal. Of course, that's a $6 million cap hit. He had 25 goals, 53 points in a full season, and had another 4 goals in 8 playoff games. A bit of an overpayment, I would say. That the 53 points were a career high. The past 4 seasons, he had only averaged between 35 and 45 points. So a bit of an overpayment, but I think they're going for what he'll provide in the future. Also, we had a couple minor signings. Chad Ruhwedel with the Pittsburgh Penguins was given a 2-year, $1.4 million deal, bit of a depth defenseman. And then, of course, the Montreal Canadiens, a couple signings. They gave Brett Kulak a 3-year, $5.55 million deal. It's a $1.85 million cap hit. He had 6 goals, 17 points in 57 games. And he's actually paired with either Shea Weber or Jeff Petrie when he got called up, and appears to be a really good fit there. And they also gave Xavier Ouellette a 1-year extension, 2-way contract with $700K. He'll be more of a depth defenseman, probably most likely in the AHL. And lastly, Laurent Brossoit was given a 1-year extension with the Winnipeg Jets, 1-year, $1.225 million deal. He went 13-6-2 with a .925 save percentage this year in Winnipeg. After a couple of years of struggling in Edmonton, up and down in the minors, he actually had a really solid season. And those were the signings there. A couple trade rumor notes or free agency. We have Phil Kessel. Basically, I think it's guaranteed that he's going to get traded this offseason. There were some rumors that it could possibly be Minnesota, where Jason Zucker's name has come up a lot there, and some other names thrown in there is that Pittsburgh might be looking to get rid of Jack Johnson, who's on a brutal deal. He still has 4 years left on his deal, and then Victor Rask in Minnesota, who they got for Nino Niederreiter. It looks like they're going to try to dump him in Pittsburgh, but Phil Kessel's also been rumored, possibly Arizona as well. But Arizona, with their ownership problems, I don't expect a trade there. And also Erik Karlsson tweeted out his thanks to the Sharks organization. It looked more like a goodbye tweet than anything. So I'd be expecting him to go to free agency on July 1st. Some teams to keep in mind could be the Tampa Bay Lightning. I know their cap, they'll have to sort out their cap, but with Victor Hedman there would be interesting. Or the New York Rangers, I saw as another team thrown out there. They'll have a ton of cap space there as well. And, of course, the Henrik Lundqvist situation there with Karlsson. And lastly, I saw Artemi Panarin on Instagram. He liked a tweet where a Canuck fan sort of puts like Panarin to Pettersson scores, sort of along those lines, and he liked that tweet. So as a Canuck fan, I'm very excited, even though I don't think he'll be coming to Vancouver. But I see that, and I'll just say, give him all the money, make sure you get him over here if you can, sort of thing.
Well, I think there's going to be lots of trades this summer. I have a feeling in and around the draft. I saw New Jersey has not only the first pick, but they also have several second-round picks. I believe they have 3 of them right now. And so I can see them potentially moving some around. The Rangers have a ton of picks. They've got a ton of great young players there too. So I'll be curious to see what they do. Zucker's name's also been rumored in Calgary, as it was at the deadline. And finally, local news, Vancouver Giant defenseman Bowen Byram named CHL Prospect of the Year recently as well on the weekend at the Memorial Cup. So remember to like and share our Facebook page or our YouTube page, B&B Hockey Talk. I'm Aaron. He's Matt. Matt, final word to you before we end today's show.
Yeah, just a couple things. Gary Bettman said the NHL will be looking at exploring expanding video replay this year. If you saw like the end of the Raptors game, there was a lot of review there. So we'll see if it goes along those lines. Hopefully they can speed things up if they do expand video replay. And also, there'll be no games in China in September this coming season for logistical reasons, but they will return the following season. And a couple of Russians hitting the news. Slava Voinov, his suspension, it got reduced to 41 games this year. As they said, 41 games was rewarded for last season, but the Los Angeles Kings, who still hold his rights, say they have no interest in bringing him back this season. I don't think any NHL team will want to go through that publicity with all that if he does return. And also, we'll see what comes of this, but Evgeny Kuznetsov, a video that was a year old over in Russia after they won the Stanley Cup, there was a video that showed he was in a hotel room, it sort of looked like, and there was like 2 white powder lines on a table that could possibly be cocaine. But it looks like it was sort of from what it said, it was a year old, and it sort of looked like he was just invited up to the room because he knew a couple guys, and once when he saw what was happening there, he said, I want to get out of here. But he's open for any tests or anything, but that's something to keep an eye on. Sort of thing as well, but yeah, enjoy Game 1 of the Bruins Blues game tonight. Should be a really good game.
Yeah, very excited as we'll end today's episode so that we can both experience the beginning of that game. Enjoy, everyone. The Stanley Cup Finals are here. Whether you're for St. Louis or for Boston, enjoy the show. Enjoy the game. Enjoy our show. Remember to like and comment below, and we'll see you guys all on Wednesday.